The way we lead impacts the way people live. This world needs truly human leadership.
It's about looking after your employees, giving them the freedom to implement their own ideas as if they owned their own businesses, and to live a life and have a job and go home every day fulfilled and happy, because those are the unalienable rights that are granted to everybody who works in this company.
I'm Brent Stewart, your host. Thanks for listening. This podcast is an outreach of Barry-Wehmiller. You can find us and connect on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter at Barry-Wehmiller. And find our podcast, articles, and videos at trulyhumanleadership.com. I'd like to share some statistics put together from a number of different sources. 74% of people say the workplace is the leading cause of stress. 54% of workers report that stress from work affects their life at home. 76% of U.S. workers said that workplace stress affected their personal relationships. A third of U.S.-based workers visited a doctor for something stress-related. And did you know that research from the CDC says that the person you report to at work can be more important to your health than your family doctor? And when it comes to the person you report to at work, 56% of American workers claim that their boss is mildly or highly toxic, and 75% of Americans say that the boss is the most stressful part of their workday. This is unacceptable and unsustainable. As author Tony Schwartz once said, the way we're working isn't working. And this is why we need truly human leadership. If you know anything about Barry-Wehmiller, if you've read Everybody Matters, the book about our company that was written by our CEO, Bob Chapman, you're familiar with the term truly human leadership. But whether you're familiar with the term or not, on this podcast, we're going to do a deep dive into what it really means. Barry-Wehmiller companies provide industrial equipment and engineering solutions that help bring many of life's daily necessities, toilet paper, wet wipes, corrugated boxes, cans of soft drinks, bags of dog food, containers of yogurt, pharmaceuticals, envelopes, and more to people across the globe. But that's just what we do. What truly defines us as a business is how we do it. And that's by fostering a caring, trusting, nurturing organizational culture through which people feel safe to express their ideas and share their gifts and talents. One of the most fundamental of human needs is to know that who we are and what we do matter. And through our business, we have the unique opportunity to let our team members know that they do. And when they feel valued and cared for at work, they return home and enjoy better relationships with their loved ones, friends, neighbors, and anyone they encounter. And that all starts from the top down. It starts with truly human leadership. Here are three of our team members giving their definitions of truly human leadership. Jay Gopinath from our Design Group Engineering and Industrial Consulting Company, Tim Sullivan, who's one of our board members, and Susan Conrad from our Chapman & Co. Leadership Institute and Company Culture Consulting Company.
Truly human leadership, to me, is a very important ingredient that keeps me connected, that keeps me grounded, and treats me like a person that I want to be treated and treat others the same way that they need to be treated. I can't imagine what a culture would like without a sense of respect and a sense of purpose. And I believe truly human leadership gives me that. I've always reminded myself of a statement that I read in a book which says, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care, right? So this is a profound statement to me. That's one of the shaping statements in my mind that kind of keeps me grounded to say, it's not, oh, you are a leader, you're going to lead this. Do you really care? Do you really see me as a number or a means to an end? We talk about it in our Barry-Wehmiller University courses, where what would happen if people are perceived as an object versus a person with real hopes, needs, and feelings. So to me, these grounding theories and these practical opportunities have shaped me who I am, and I think it's absolutely necessary to practice truly human leadership. At the same time, it has to be enveloped in a sense of purpose. The business has to run. And I think once people understand what we are doing, we care for each other. At the same time, this is the job we need to go do. This is the goal we've got to go accomplish. This is the KPI we've got to go track. So once the goals are clear, how we get to the goals while caring for each other and acting with integrity and purpose makes that journey very fulfilling to me and allows me to practice that with people in my span of care and influence. I can't imagine a world without truly human leadership.
You know, if I had to put it in very simple words, I would say respect each person and value each person. I mean, that's really the power of truly human leadership, is being able to value each and every individual. Again, how does that come through in the way we do business at Barry-Wehmiller? I think it's the way we empower people, and the way that they feel empowered, and the way they make a difference in our company. You know, from rapid response teams to, you know, customer service representatives, engineers, field service technicians. I mean, all of these people, and I'm only naming a few, have tremendous responsibilities and tremendous opportunities to impact our customers and our business. And if you can truly respect and value each person, you know, I think it just loosens great energy and great power on behalf of our company.
To me, truly human leadership is being authentically who you are, showing up in service to other people. It's being comfortable and confident that no matter what's said, that you're able to bring the very best out in a person. You see the person. You're not focused on the job. You're not focused on some predetermined solution. You start with the relationship. To me, that's how I measure success, is by the depth of the relationships that I can create. And the way I do that is I've got to see people first as people, and understand who they are, appreciate who they are, and then try to find ways to help them as best I can. A lot of times, you know, we get caught up in the I've got the answers. You know, I've done a few things, I'm successful, and great, here it goes, right? Let me tell you what to do. It's completely the wrong way to go about it, right? I don't know, and I'm stifling every opportunity for somebody to probably step into a better solution, be really creative, think of things that, you know, I haven't thought about, and it's a better way to do it. And so really focusing in on the truly human leadership side, really being able to say, my job is to see you as a person. My job is to help you become the best person you're capable of being. It's a mindset shift. It's completely, as I said, it's profoundly changed the way I think and the way I show up. And I'm hoping that I can inspire people as much as I've been inspired. So I see my job as being a catalyst for people, helping them achieve everything that they're capable of. I think that's one of the great gifts of the truly human leadership mindset, is it is about creating impact for other people. It's about opening that possibility up so that people can step into all that they're meant to be in the roles in the organizations, and they're able to then perpetuate that. So it becomes this self-fulfilling way of being in the world. You know, it's a sustainable way, it's scalable, it's not consultant dependent. It's about really shifting the mindset and saying, you know, if we really want to create a better world through business, which I believe wholeheartedly, then we need to be able to do this in a way that can be expanded beyond any one person. It's a way of being. And so that's why I'm so passionate about how do we help other people do this, because the impact is tremendous. I just know what's happened for me personally, and I just think, man, what if that happened for everybody? I want my kids to be in a place where they feel valued and they feel like they can really step into who they're meant to be.
Where did the name Truly Human Leadership come from? Well, it was coined by our friend, author and speaker Simon Sinek. And many years ago, Simon made his first visit to a Barry-Wehmiller company after meeting our CEO, Bob Chapman, and hearing about us. And this is his reaction right after that visit. And it describes the culture within Barry-Wehmiller and the impact truly human leadership can have.
I stand here profoundly moved by what I have experienced the past 2 days. I'm a nutty idealist, and I have this ridiculous notion that it's possible to change the world. And by change the world, I mean live in a world in which absolutely every single person, hopefully, goes home at the end of the day feeling fulfilled by the work that they do. I mean, the statistics are real, that over 90% of Americans go home at the end of the day and don't feel fulfilled by their work. Think about that for a second. The vast, not 51%, 90 go home and do not feel fulfilled by their work. They might make a lot of money, they might be successful, but they don't feel successful. And I imagine a world in which that statistic is completely reversed. I imagine a world in which you could go up to any random person on the street at any time, tap them on the shoulder, and say, "Do you like your job?" And they say, "No, I love my job." That's the world that I imagine. And it's a simple reason. Because people who go home at the end of the day feeling fulfilled and love their jobs treat their spouses better, they treat their kids better, they're happier people, they probably live longer. They go back to work the next day and treat their colleagues better and treat their customers better, and those people go home happier and more fulfilled, and they treat their spouses better and they treat their kids better. And my goodness, what we have is world peace. A group of people who get along and see the world as a place that we can all sort of contribute to and feel a part of and give to the person next to you. This is this crazy vision I have. And I talk about it and I write about it, and I'll talk to anyone who will listen, and have devoted basically my life to building this world. I'm profoundly moved because for the first time ever, I've met a company that is proof that this world is possible. It's called Precedence, right? I can no longer be called a crazy idealist because this company exists in reality, and that is this company. I met people over the past 2 days who genuinely care about each other. I met people over the past 2 days who are genuinely interested to listen to the ideas of others. I recently heard probably one of the best leadership spokespeople, a guy by the name of Bob Gaylor, talk. And he said, "Do not confuse humility with meekness." He said, humility is being open to the ideas of others. And what I met was a company filled with humility. A company where every single person shows up and is genuinely interested in the ideas of others, no matter what they do in the company. It is remarkable. In fact, the only reason I find myself here now is because I met a remarkable man who said, "I'm open to your ideas." And he came to me, and we had lunch, the famous 3-hour lunch that was supposed to be a 1-hour lunch. And we shared this idea of the world together. And as I said to Bob, you had me at huh. And he said, "We have this company." And I said, "Prove it. I want to see it." And this is why we came on this trip, just to see what it was about. And we made very specific requests. No hubbub, no tour, no sort of purpose-built tours. Just show us people, let us interact. Don't prepare, no PowerPoints, just let us roam. I want it to be real, not artificial or superficial. And I stand before you profoundly moved. This world that I imagine is 100% possible. What you have is a blueprint. What you evolved, what you tried out through trial and error, and there was a vision of something that could be better, that we could do something, this nutty desire that, we should enjoy work and that it can be better and we should sort of respect each other. I mean, these are things that are usually punchlines at the ends of corporate speeches or political campaigns, But what started off as an idea that was actually followed through on, and you see the impact, is a blueprint. When I say it's a blueprint, I do not mean that we copy it down, write it down, and give it to another company for them to copy. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, now imagine what you did with each individual person now becomes an individual company in the United States. Right? So this now stands an example of a different way to live. Not work. A different way to live. And one other company, regardless of their size and regardless of their industry, will see it and say, that's interesting, and it won't be perfect, and it won't be easy, and it won't be difficult, but they'll give it a try. And then they'll tell another company, and they'll give it a try. And then they'll give it a try, and then they'll give it a try. And all of a sudden you get 100 or 1,000 companies that move on the exact same pace and the exact same scale that it happened internally. Now let's take that blueprint and make it even bigger. Let's say that each company represents a nation state. But all of a sudden one nation does things a little differently. That nation's called the United States of America. This nation was founded based on an idea, right? Don't forget, in other countries when you take an oath to protect the borders. In this country you take an oath to protect the Constitution. You take an oath to protect an idea. They decided, it was an entrepreneurial venture. It was an experiment. It's the American experiment, where they sat around a table and said, we have an idea for a country. Here's the idea. In fact, we believe so deeply in it that we believe that we want to be disconnected from the previous management to try it on our own. Here's the crazy idea. All men are created equal. And in your words, there is no us and them. There is only us. And all of these people are entitled to certain unalienable rights. Those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's about looking after your employees, giving them the freedom to implement their own ideas as if they owned their own businesses, and to live a life and have a job and go home every day fulfilled and happy, because those are the unalienable rights that are granted to everybody who works in this company. This company is a reflection of the founding of this country. It is a distinctly American company. Who are the new people who are leading us into the future? Who is inspiring our nation? Who is reminding us what it means to be American? The answer is no one. And when there is no one leading us and showing us an example of what the world could be like, what ends up happening is we become selfish. We become focused on ourselves and not the person next to us. We think less of the ideas of the people next to us, not more of them. We become closed-minded to the ideas of others, not open-minded. We become interested in our own survival and not the survival of the person next to us. You want to talk about us and them? I've never seen more us and them between big business and small business. I've never seen more us and them between management and labor. I've never seen more us and them between Republican and Democrat, North and South, red states, blue states, take your pick. It doesn't matter. We are living in a country right now of more us and them than any of us care to admit. But as you told us, there is no us and them. There is only us. We are all equal. We are all entitled to these unalienable rights. Entitled. Entitled. That's what this represents. This is what is so remarkable about this organization. You are not. You do yourself so little credit by saying we're building a great company. You're building a great country. And that one country, if we get it right, serves as an example to other countries. Just like America always has and America always does. America is always a leader. That doesn't mean because we're big, that doesn't mean because we're powerful, that doesn't mean because we're rich. That means because we inspire. We're not just building a company here, we're building a country here. We're rebuilding where we need to go. This is a shining example. What you are doing is a blueprint for absolutely every single company and every single person who believes in these unalienable rights and wants the right to live in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is what I find profoundly amazing about this company. This is what I find profoundly amazing. I leave here more moved than I've been in a while. There's only one other organization that I have the honor to work with that leaves me like this. And it's probably not an accident, which is the United States military. Every time I work with them, I am humbled by their devotion to a cause bigger than themselves. In business, it's traditional to ask questions. If, when people hear my concepts, they say, Simon, we love your concepts. How can I use them to get a promotion? Right? In the military, say, Simon, we love your concepts. How should we promote? How should we use these concepts so that we always make sure that we're promoting the best and the brightest? They always think about the guy next to them. They always think about the organization. You are like that. That is the same comparison. The way you speak, the way you think, the way you act, and the way I feel in response to you is exactly the same. And it's not an accident. It's because everybody shows up here in service to a cause greater than themselves. I am inspired. You have taught me so much of these past 2 days that I cannot wait to come back to learn more. And anything that we can do to contribute to the pace and the speed, and more importantly, the accuracy and the size and the impact of this vision. But please, please stop telling people that you're building a great company. Please start telling people that you're continuing to rebuild or build a great country, and that the things that you're doing will serve as an example for others. And you will prove the point that everyone can indeed go home feeling fulfilled at the end of the day. It is not idealism, it is reality. And if you get it right, it will inspire others to do the same. And each company that changes in this country will change like each person in your own company has changed. I can't get enough of it, I'll tell you that much. I can't get enough of it. So with great humility and great gratitude, I thank you for letting me in to see what is truly possible. Because it is bright and it is beautiful.
Simon talks a little bit about the experiment of American democracy in relation to Barry-Wehmiller and Truly Human Leadership. And our CEO, Bob Chapman, once wrote this: "It's our responsibility as leaders to make the American dream a reality. But this is not just about the American dream. It goes beyond the American dream. It's about the dream of building a better world. We can do this by moving away from the singular focus on shareholder value and working towards leadership practices that create a safe environment. An environment where people feel valued for who they are and what they do, as we collectively aspire to a vision that creates value for all stakeholders. Business could be the most powerful force for good if it simply cared about the lives it touches." And here are some thoughts from Bob Chapman on the evolution of truly human leadership.
Well, this eclectic journey we've been on from management to leadership caused us to kind of think about how to articulate that. And originally, what came to my mind was people-centric. In other words, focused on people. And we started calling it people-centric leadership. Simon came along, as you know, as one of our biggest advocates of our supporters of our transformation and what we believe in. And Simon, who's an anthropologist who is clearly very dedicated to this field, he looked at me one day and he said, "Bob, this is truly human leadership." And it really resonated with me, as maybe a refinement and more powerful way of articulating this truly human leadership. And so that's how it went from just an eclectic series to some title, which was People-Centric Leadership, to now what we call Truly Human Leadership. It was really stimulated by Simon feeling what it meant to him from his educational and his journey through the competencies of leadership. So I would say to you, I've gotten really comfortable with the idea of describing it as truly human leadership. This is the way, and I amplify that by, this is the way we were called, in my view, this is the way we were called to live and work together where people genuinely feel valued, okay? Not purely for economic, but for human gain, not just economic gain. I would describe it as leadership focused on the people you have the privilege of leading. Some of the words I'm starting to see used outside our company now is the people in your span of care. Quite often, traditionally, we call how many direct reports you have, okay? How many people work in your company? So we have 110,000 employees, whatever the number is. And I've shifted the language to a more human language, is that people in your span of care. I want to go back to the statement Simon Sinek made that I thought was brilliant. In the military, we honor those who give of themselves in service of others. And in business, we give bonuses to people that sacrifice others in service of themselves. Why can't we in business, as we do in the military, teach our leaders that their primary responsibility is the men and women in their care? In the Marines, it's called officers eat last. He took that phrase for his second book and called it leaders eat last. And it's nothing to do with eating. It has to do with serving, making sure that those in your care are your primary focus. Why can't we teach business leaders, organizational leaders, teachers, that your primary responsibility is the men and women in your care, okay? Not direct reports, not number of employees, but in your span of care. And I think when we change the language and we change the focus, we'll see a change in behavior, which is our goal, to change our focus from economic value creation to human value creation, which includes economic, because we need to feed and shelter those in our span of care. But so I think we moved to a language that's more powerful because the words we use are very important. I think one of the things, Brenda, we don't use the word love a lot. Why? Because I think love's it's a powerful word. We should love one another, but I find that it's hard for some people to use a very personal word out with the general population, because that's, in theory, preserved for very special relationships. So we talk about caring for people, okay? We care for our kids, we care for our friends, we care for our country, we care for the world. So I think we've moved in this journey with such insightful people like Simon and Bill Urey and others, Lynn Twist, that we met along this journey. We moved to words that I think inspire the kind of behavior that we feel will start to heal the world and address this poverty of dignity we have in the world.
Truly human leadership helps to honor one of the most significant needs we have as humans, to know that who we are and what we do matter, but it also helps to honor our inherent sense of dignity, which we continually see violated in the workplace. Here's more from Bob Chapman on the poverty of dignity in the world, which he mentioned in that last clip.
The word dignity is a relatively new phenomenon in our language, and it really came from, in the height of the pandemic, I don't know, it was 3 or 4 months ago, Bill Urey called me, a person we value highly in this journey, who we've met, who negotiates world peace, incredibly thoughtful, wrote a book called Getting to Yes. And Bill Urey called me and said, I'm genuinely concerned about the state of our world right now. And I'm calling a few people I think are thoughtful to kind of talk about what we might do together to make a difference. I just feel compelled to do something. So we had a good hour conversation. I said to Bill, to me the problem is that we talk to each other, but we don't know how to listen to each other. So we don't know how to understand each other. So we don't know how to live together, because you can't live together without understanding each other. And so we had this nice exchange. And the next morning, Bill sends me an email, and he said, Tom Friedman just wrote an article in the New York Times this morning, and it really addresses the issues we talked about yesterday. And so I opened the article, and it's called The Poverty of Dignity. I really never centered around the word dignity. It's not something I've used in my vernacular. So I read the article, and he basically said, we don't have a poverty of money in this world right now. We have a poverty of dignity, which means people don't feel valued, okay? We don't validate their dignity. And when people don't feel a sense of dignity, they feel a sense of humiliation. And when they feel a sense of humiliation, you will see anger, unrest like you've never seen before. And he quotes Nelson Mandela, who saw this within the South African country where he was a leader. And he said, so he said, what we're seeing right now is this eruption of violence triggered by the lack of dignity for many reasons, not just economic reasons. And it goes on to say, What we need in this world is deep listening. Now, we say empathetic listening. He used the word deep. He repeated deep listening, which is when people understand each other. That is the key to human coexistence, which is the ability to understand that each one of us have a lens through which we see the world. We can't see that lens when we walk up to somebody, but when people, if we truly listen to people, not judge, listen to people, we can begin to see the lens through which they see the world, okay, which has to do with the DNA of which they were born, which is their personality type, plus their life experiences, okay, which shape this lens through which, and so we can both see the exact same situation and see it entirely differently because our lenses create the vehicle through which we see the world. And so what we try to do is to understand that we need to create a world where we begin to understand each other and realize that we have we're not bad people behind the lenses, we're not right and wrong, we just have different lenses that have been shaped by many factors in our life, including, again, the personality to which we were born. So when Tom Friedman wrote that article and he talked about listening, which is where we started with listening and we saw the profound impact. I said, bingo, this is it. We have a poverty of dignity. People, the issue we face in the world is people don't feel valued. They feel used for somebody else's personal gain. An organization, an individual, that we use people for economic gain, not human dignity. And all the nonprofits in the world, with all their good intention, their wonderful passion, are not going to change that until we change the way we teach people to understand and listen and be present with each other. So I would say the word dignity is an elegant way of expressing the hurt that we're experiencing in the world, this lack of dignity that is being destroyed by self-interest as opposed to human interest in terms of understanding. I want to understand you. I don't want to judge your attitude. I want to understand you, okay? And I'm not going to judge you by your being for abortion or against abortion or for immigration. I want to understand who you are because I suspect behind that lens there's somebody with a heart and a soul that I could relate to. So our ability to go beyond the lens through which people see the world, to see the beauty in people, which happens when you listen to them and understand them and are present. So I think Tom Friedman, that conversation, the article by Tom, the discussion with Bill Urey, two incredibly thoughtful people, allowed me to see this issue we face in the world, which is the poverty of dignity, which only when you listen to people, will you validate the dignity that they were born with, okay? And understanding that we're all uniquely different, shaped by the DNA of our birth and the life experiences. And that if we get behind that lens and see the beauty of people, that we can have a world where people feel valued and have a sense of dignity.
Leadership is an awesome responsibility and hard work. And as we've heard throughout this episode, truly human leadership is about the stewardship of the lives we have the privilege to lead. But what are some characteristics of a truly human leader? And we're going to end this episode with those thoughts from Bob Chapman.
I would say the most important characteristic is the desire to serve others. Okay, moving from that me-centric focus to a we-centric focus. I think if you drive out of our building, I think it's expressed as we imagine a society where people think of others first. Again, a truly human leader is one that looks at the people, all the stakeholders, not just the team members, but all the stakeholders, and realizing that the ramifications of their behavior affects a lot of people other than just that person's family, that person's income, that person's job, their status. So it's much more powerful than just the individual, because we have a society where we define success as money, power, and position. I know a lot of people with money, power, and position are miserable. Okay, true success is living lives of meaning and purpose and service to others, which brings joy to you and leaves impact on other people, feel cared for. So I think we're trying to change the language. Again, I always say I took a management class, got a management degree, and got a job in management. So what did I think my job was? To manage people, which means tell them what to do because I'm smarter, wiser, more experienced, and I have the position to tell you what to do. And people would come and ask me what to do, and I'd tell them I felt good. I got kind of a dopamine hit when people, and it worked out. I didn't realize, but when you're raising kids, if all you do is tell them what to do and then they go out of your family, they don't have the foundation to live their life with good judgment and make decisions. So our goal as leaders is to focus on those people, that they realize their potential towards the organizational goals we have. That is the focus of leaders, the people in their span of care who will be profoundly impacted by the way they are treated and their desire to realize their dreams, their personal dreams of living lives of meaning and purpose. Whether whatever position you go to, that you find a place where you find joy, meaning, and purpose, and you feel valued. There's not 1 ounce of doubt in my mind that the greatest human skill is the capacity for genuine, empathetic listening. Not listening to judge, but listening to understand. And there's no question. I mean, I remember when Bill Urey was working with, he said, can you imagine a world instead of having talk shows, we had listening to shows? Can you imagine a world where the greatest attribute when we gave somebody an award or recognition was their capacity to listen and care? So the world we imagine is just exactly the opposite of where we are right now, okay? The world we imagine is where people are quiet to listen to not what people say, but what people mean, okay? We have learned through our journey through listening that quite often what people say is quite different than what they mean. And only by being fully present and listening to that individual or group of individuals will we get behind what they're really trying to tell us, okay? And we know this for a fact. It's not debatable. So I think there's no question that gift of listening, which validates the worth, which allows people to join you in whatever journey you're on, is the greatest skill of leadership. Others are important, but that is foundationally the most important.
So are you a truly human leader? After listening to this episode, what can you do to bring truly human leadership to those within your span of care? What can you do to bring caring into the culture of your workplace? Don't forget to find us and connect on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter at Barry-Wehmiller. And you can find more podcasts, articles, and videos at trulyhumanleadership.com. I'm Brent Stewart. Thanks for listening.